Good afternoon. No, still good morning. Still good morning. Thank you very much for being here with us, especially guests out of Poland who came here, I hope by train and not by a plane, because we have to think about the ESG. First of all, welcome. I'm happy that we have a lady on stage, because I remember last year we had only some male colleagues on the stage. Second, Mariusz, is probably very cool for you sitting here, because the office of Smell is just behind these windows and we can see your company. But let's talk about frauds, as this topic is focus on frauds. First of all, this example from Serbia is amazing, and as having here the members of Polish Factoring Association here, as I assume, I'm very happy of that maybe something will happen also on this Polish, and we will take an example, because as you said, it's obvious to have it. It's not a nice to have. It's and this example is amazing. And so let's maybe start to assume what kind of frauds we have in Poland, as we have two examples. We have huge corporate factoring, and we have Smell, which is like a fintech. Maybe last year, some numbers about frauds, what kind of frauds you deal with last year. Is it like this double financing, invoicing? What kind of frauds we deal with now on this market?
First of all, hello, everyone. What I would like to share with you, maybe the numbers comes later, but I would like to share with you the recipes for frauds that we met most often in our business. And the first one is fake invoices fraud. Yep. And there is often a case that we have a long-term stable cooperation with the client. So we know each other, we have a relation built. We also know the ways how we are conducting the business, our weaknesses also. And I think that this is the situation that we may not be vigilant enough, because there is a likelihood that client will submit fake invoices for financing when he faces financial problems. So this is it. And the first, he just want to borrow the money. Yeah? So he just putting fake invoices into the proper ones, and then he's giving the money back on behalf of the buyer. So this is the first case. Or he just corrects the invoices to zero when the payment term is closed. Of course, we will get to know this sooner or later during our monitoring processes. And if there's no collusion between the client and the debtors, because then it's harder. But it's usually too late, because in that case, often clients go bankrupt. Or when it's non-recourse agreement, we have no coverage because the insurer won't pay the compensation for the invoices that didn't exist in economic transactions. So this is the first one. And the second example that we've met most often is double finance fraud. And I have a very recent one that happened last year on our Polish market. We had a client that had an agreement with a few financial institutions, so they were banks and factoring companies, and he was submitting same invoices to different factoring houses. What's more, there was a collusion between the clients and the debtors. So they all agreed to commit fraudulent activities just to avoid detection. And because
so they work together, like
yes,
the payer and the issuer of the invoice, they work together.
This was completely, and while the few financial institutions were simultaneously involved in that payment rotating scheme procedure, it was practically impossible to detect. So our monitoring processes, anti-fraud processes covered 100% of invoices, and we had no red flags indicated. So this was completely conscious activity of the client aiming at obtaining financial benefits illegally. Yeah, so he did it by purpose. Yeah, and this case, I have to say that the amount we've lost together was really substantial. So
what means substantial for such a big institution as you are?
Like millions of.
Millions.
Yeah,
hundreds of millions.
Close.
Close to hundreds of millions. So probably how many systems like you build in Serbia we can build for this amount? Probably like about 100 of them, I think.
A lot, I can say. Yeah.
Or even more than 100 systems like that. So probably we can build a global system for this amount. So
Within 3 months.
Yeah, but I think that in the future, we will have to face more sophisticated fraud attempts. So we should.
Of course. So just to back to the question. So as you said, this double financing is the main issue nowadays, especially when there is.
Big one, yes.
Okay, it's a one big one. Mariusz, from your perspective, because
In small ticket, because
you have a small ticket,
It's a different one.
Smell is a fintech up to, I don't know, financing 1-2 million zloty.
But it's rarely, so we very rarely see 2
Yeah.
million. It's rather 100,000 PLN or 400,000 PLN. Average is close to 200,000, like $50,000. It's an average deal, right? But probably the story is similar in the way the customers behave, because we have, let's say, small company, like let's imagine 2 million yearly turnover, right? So $500,000 yearly. And it cooperates, gets the limits, gets the accept invoices, the debtors are approved, fine, because it's done automatically. So it gets the limit within 10 minutes, then we check the debtors. It takes another, few minutes and cooperates. It's fine, it's everything fine.
So build like trust.
We work 1 year, 2 years, and suddenly the financial position of the company deteriorates, right? And when it deteriorates, now the game begins. So, and this is a soft one. This one I say soft one example, because he calls then either he issues these empty invoices. That's a bigger problem, but I will tell you another one. And he calls his debtors and say, I will do this delivery to you. Please confirm the invoice. Please do it. And they do it. They help to commit the crime.
So he is able to convince his contractor, the payer of the invoice.
Nobody wants to give me the money any longer, but my problems will finish in 1 month's time. And they confirm.
And their colleagues, their friends, they help each other.
They can be somehow related also.
Yeah,
or somehow
so they commit the crime. So for us, it's easier because we can go in Poland quite quickly via the bad debt companies to chase the debtor. And then how we collect the money. It takes some time. It takes 6 months, maybe 12 some months sometimes, but we mostly recover the debt. But the second example is that we have 2 crooks, or one very strong crook, and it's a bigger amount, for example, but the company is a little bit bigger. So comes with the problems we cannot discover because we don't see it yet, from different reasons. Divorced the wife, or happened something even more difficult in his life. So, and then he comes with the transaction, company exists, looks nice, and then let's imagine the debtor, or the one who wants to confirm the invoice is leaving the company. So they, again, 2 are in a crime. So the one confirming the debtor is no longer allowed to confirm the debtor, to confirm the debt. They confirm it, and then there's a red light. Many people do not observe, should. So that's a bad lessons for us. We recovered the money, but then the checking and that confirming the receivable, because that's a crucial problem of the fraud. If you confirm the receivable, if you confirm the delivery, you limit your risk. And yeah, if you don't call the proper person, the customer tell you, oh, that's the guy who will confirm everything to you. Never do it. Check this yourself. Yeah, always find the guy being responsible financial organization to confirm the debt, to confirm the invoice to you, not via your client who say, oh, that's the person he's the manager in this company, very large company, by the way. You approve the debt, you approve the debtor, and then suddenly you are in the trouble. In this specific case, the company was a little bit better, So the company, but they were both crooks. So we chased both.
Mm-hmm.
But end of the day, the debtor said, "No, I never confirmed that. That's a criminal or thing which happened."
Yeah, and the question is, as we know that this is happening, and we know that even if somebody stole thousands of millions or hundreds of millions zloty from a big Polish bank or institution, what is the penalty for such a person or such a criminals? It's probably nothing. The court case taking years in the Polish courts because we have some issues here, some years, and probably these people do nothing. But this 100 million is somewhere, probably somebody in somebody's garage or somewhere already in Dubai.
Real estate
in Dubai.
real estate in Croatia or Dubai or Spain.
Yeah, but like just a question to you. As you hear these examples, what do you think? You had the same in Serbia and you found a solution.
Yeah, exactly. I can give you a few even more sophisticated examples. So in Serbia, invoice verification is now handled by government e-invoicing system, and that help us deal with that. But for example, when you have massive utility company in a country where they need like 3 days to record an email that they get, it's super easy for multiple factoring companies to finance the same invoice, because it's a big utility company. You probably finance 10 million euros with them already, or 50 million euros already, and they are not replying on their emails too diligently, and the same company can finance 3 invoices, 3 emails they will receive, but they will reply to you after, let's say, 3 days. Or somebody will notice fraud only after a couple of days while the money is already in a fraudster bank account. So it's relatively simple to commit this fraud if you actually know what you are doing. And that's why solution like we have developed is very simple, very effective, easy to implement, and really a lifesaver.
The question is if this solution also causes some problems, because probably it's some time when we have to wait to the confirmation from the system. Isn't an extra job for the factoring companies to upload these invoices and so on? Or maybe there are some also mistakes, because sometimes it could be different invoices but like with some similar numbers. So I can imagine if it is a case.
Mistakes we managed to handle, because each invoice we sign like 5 different times. We do variation of due dates, of numbers of the invoice, and sometimes there are false positives. So sometimes they say, okay, this might be fraudulent, but they provide you contact details of different company, and then you can sort of investigate yourself and really quickly understand it is the same invoice or not. The problem might arise when they actually collude, where invoices are verified and they actually make fake invoices with completely different numbers, completely different due dates, completely different invoice numbers. Where such thing happens, little you can do. When there's actual full collusion on both sides, the only thing that is a lifesaver there is creditworthiness of the buyer. At least nobody can claim that invoices did not exist. They existed. The job was not handled, but in legally speaking, those are invoices, and the debtor owes to you something.
Okay, thank you very much. Matt, when you hear the stories of Katarzyna and Mariusz, you also have a solution, like how to prevent it, if you can just comment this.
Yeah, there's different levels you can kind of try and intercept. One is onboarding. You can try and stop the bad actors then, but as you mentioned, they actually were good customers that later became bad. One of the things you can do with technology and part of the automation and insights that we do a lot is actually taking contact information from the invoices and doing checks on them. So you're actually looking into the debtors and looking at the invoices and seeing are there mismatches in that data. So it's not just the direct relationship you have with your customer, but it's actually delving further into the invoices they submit. And often you'll see potential red flags in that data. It won't catch every use case, but it will certainly catch many use cases.
Okay, thank you very much. Do you like to comment? Yeah, of course. Maybe the microphone will be busy.
Thank you. I think that's it. So maybe, hopefully, we'll soon use AI to, to do this. Yes.
Exactly. That was my question, because like, as you have different approach to probably acquire new customers, as Mariusz, as Smeo, probably you focus mainly on the customers from online, and everything is digitalized, and this onboarding process, you never seen the customer. Maybe you met few customers in your career, but like, because I was CEO of this company previously a few years ago, the Polish market now. So I met just one or two of the customers, and we have thousands of them because everything is online. So it's more difficult to detect this kind of frauds on the onboarding process. But in your case, is it still like that you have this relationship manager who is always meeting a customer? Or as everything is more and more digital now, you also try to have customers which are only onboarded online?
So we have both.
Okay.
We have both, yeah. But as I said before, that knowing your customer and have the relation built, it can be just it can be dangerous because we may not be vigilant, maybe in that case. Okay. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Yes, please.
If I may, my amazing example of a fraudster, my favorite fraudster so far that we had.
Is he in a prison? He, she?
Dubai.
In Dubai.
So, prison. Basically, the invoices were fake, but the way they were verified, that was the pre-invoicing system in Serbia, the way they were verified is amazing. So the guy targeted multinational companies present in Serbia that do not own local domain. So their domain was .com, but they did not own their own .rs domain. So he would.
Okay, so the international company which has only international domain, internet domain, but doesn't have the local in Serbia.
Local one. So,
okay. So he bought them.
Yeah, the invoice was fraudulent, but it would be confirmed, let's say, from a purchasing manager, same email, same address. You find him on LinkedIn, everything seems perfect, but only .rs domain, signature perfect, everything great. And at that, there we could not claim against the buyer, even though notification was delivered properly because
the company doesn't exist.
No, company exists.
Exists, but the website.
But .rs, we got confirmation from .rs domain. And not the actual domain of the company
Serbia
that they are using. And the invoice, even though we notified the company on a proper domain, the notification was not right because underlying invoice was not there.
Smart.
Very smart.
Smart. Mariusz, of course.
One comment, because factoring is all about track record in many cases. So like the whole trade finance area, I used to meet in mBank many years ago, many customers. But if you have the track record there and you have the data, Matt, you are collecting the data, you can do it in Poland within seconds. You see whether the client has ever worked with the debtor. If you see it's a first delivery, first invoice to this client, that's a red flag you can have at once. And the second red flag on the track record is a compensation. If they work together, it's another fraud can happen because they compensate their deliveries. So there are some limits you can put into your red flag. How much compensation you approve? Is it 70%? Is it 80%? Is it 90%?
Because there are segments where the compensations are quite high.
Yes,
levels.
you can do it.
Marketing, for example,
right,
events.
So, all these supply chain finance transactions, they run risk of the compensation. If you go to the Carrefour, Auchan, whoever they are, big names, they can always compensate because something is wrong with the delivery. So you take these risks. So it's all about track record. So if your track record is good, there is the 5th or 10th or 100th delivery, your risk is limited. It's not limited to 0, of course, but it gives you a lot of comfort. Sorry.
So the question is, we know that such a system exists in Serbia. 15 institutions or like even more agreed to do it. There are solutions. There are software houses. There are companies who can provide it. Why, in the biggest country in the Central and Eastern Europe, where we have these frauds, we don't have such a system?
So I have no
Yeah, it's a question for you. Unfortunately, nobody from the Polish Factoring Association is on the stage, so I couldn't ask this question. But
I can start, Michał, because I am always not political guy. So I used to help create such a system in the Polish Leasing Association. It was just after crisis, 2000 financial crisis. You remember 2009. So we all were under pressure of the clients everywhere, frauds, all this stuff. And the biggest those days company, which was called AFL, funding SMEs, mostly micro and SMEs, did not want to share the information about their clients and their frauds. So, and after the crisis, they suddenly discovered that they had a lot of frauds, a lot of vendor frauds. So then they opened the door and we said, guys, we lose something like 100 million PLN a year. Let's do it. Don't earn money on that. And that was 2011. We did it within 6 months. You are better, 3 months. But in the leasing industry, 6 months, wow, it's very quick, very agile. And now I think I know that Polish Factoring Association is trying to implement that. But we had first political influence of the large ones. Why to do it? Small ones will benefit. Why? Small ones are agile. We'll already solve that. We don't need it. And then you say it will take a lot of efforts, time, RODO, and this time. Others could have solved it, and it's existing. They don't lose the money. What we are waiting for? Only for that the biggers are not happy about that. Small will find their own way to do it. So somebody has to, say, guys, for the good of the industry, we have to do it. We have to not wait another 10 years.
Maybe it will happen today. As will be a huge success of the conference, I think, as we have the Polish Factoring Association here, we have providers of the IT solutions. We have also a company like CRIF is also with us here. I think like CRIF helps in this solution for leasing companies, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah,
but also the Polish Banking Association, due to the RODO, this GPRD, sorry, RODO Polish, GPRD limitation, Polish Banking Association took over the position, and you can do it via them. That is safe. But now in the leasing association, people do not earn the money. And now in the factoring association, how we earn money on that? So we sell our information for what? For the sake of the industry. So not because to earn money.
Katarzyna?
Based on my experience in Poland, we have a problem of the law we have to comply with. And for years we've been facing with this unsupportive legislation. Because right now existing law doesn't allow us to share the information, to exchange the information about clients, transactions, debtors, unless there is a reasonable suspicion that the crime has been committed. So, together with with the association, Polish Factors Association, we make continuous effort to change it and to be involved in the legislation that will, protect our interests. And right now, the draw of changes is undergoing public consultations. Oh, wow. So it's the step further. And the other one is that we already joined one anti-fraud solution, like the big anti-fraud platform, big. And there is another one under discussion that Mariusz mentioned. And this gives us the opportunity to check the related entities, to check if any fraud happened in the past, or to check the spars of debtors and clients, whether they exist in another factoring company. So yep. These are some...
I know you are very supportive. So mBank and M Group is very supportive in that area. You have to convince all the other colleagues in the bigger organization to accept.
I'm optimistic,
Yes.
Thank you, finger crossed for that. But another segment, payday loans, for example, in Poland, also because of help of CRIF, they built such a platform to exchange informations among them about, let's say, loans, and they do it without any legal changes, just because all customers agreed. Yes. In the agreement, they have to agree to be a part of this, let's say, database. Of course, it needs the change in the agreement, and it's more complex, but sometimes you can, bypass the regulations. Mats, you like to add something?
Yeah, I think, here we're taking the assumption that the approach is a consortium, data sharing between organizations. Actually, it doesn't have to be that way. So you mentioned there kind of payday loans and buy now, pay later examples. Yeah. We do a lot in that space as well in consumer finance. And one of the data points we use is actually the mobile spending data. So looking at, is somebody on a pay-as-you-go, a burner phone, or a pay monthly? How long have they been in contract for? How much do they spend a month? Things like that, which you don't have to go to a consortium to get access to. But to your initial question around some of the challenges, I think fraud prevention is seen as a cost, and it's also very hard to measure ROI, because if you've stopped a fraud, well, how do you measure what the impact was, okay? Where we're seeing a lot of change, and we do a lot in the UK and the US, it's actually looking at fraud technologies as a competitive advantage. So you can automate and bring people on much quicker. You don't have to wait days to get access to finance. You can do it instantly, and they can then compete with the buy now, pay laters and other new methods of finance. And so I think we have to have a new mindset around how can we use this technology not just as a cost, but as a way to maximize revenues as well.
Yeah, thank you. Just a comment, please.
Yeah, so we also had the same problems for data sharing in Serbia. But we created a whisper in a way that only metadata is shared. So no GDPR laws are...
This is a solution. Yeah, Katarzyna, of course.
Yeah, I'm impressed.
As Serbia is not a member of the European Union, so you don't have this GDPR, but probably you have something similar, as I assume.
We need to comply with it, even though it's not part of we are not part of the EU, but application process.
Okay, because you are in this application process. Okay, this is like Georgia, for example. Okay, thank you very much. And as we know that there are some changes in the Polish law happening now, and this KSEF, we call it in Polish, is this e-invoicing system, like a governmental system. It should be now, but like something is postponed. Somehow they postponed it, the Ministry of Finance.
Yeah, it was already.
Oh, it's a database. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for adding this information. So, is this a solution? As there will be one database of the invoices run by the Minister of Finance. Is it a solution? Maybe Katarzyna, you have an experience in this field. Like, what are your opinion?
To begin with, I think that first of all, that kind of centralized invoicing system will force the potential fraudster to think twice before cheating. So this is the thing. So probably the fake invoices problem and also this double finance fraud should be limited. We have to remember that uploading your invoices into the system automatically creates the VAT obligations. So this is the first thing. And the other is that your debtor will get to know that the invoice was issued. So without the collusion, it shouldn't happen. Yeah. So this is the first one. I have some doubts about this double finance frauds because right now the client can indicate in the special field in the form he's filling out one factor and two factors or more. But we can, of course, check it and monitor it. But I think that we can also somehow miss it till the time we will be uploading these invoices automatically from KSEF system into our operational systems. And I know that all the factors are thinking about this. Not all are prepared, but this is, I think, that part 2 of our adventure with KSEF planned. And what's more, we can also use KSEF now for this random verification of invoices. So you can just, check if the data in the KSEF matches the one that we have in our system. But still, right now we can do it manually. And as we are financing around 26 million invoices yearly in our market, so it can be a hard job. So
yeah, it's huge. Mariusz, some comment how the KSEF can change.
I agree.
Can those to the central database of the invoices?
Yes, this KSEF, the structured invoice, because that's the translation of that in Poland, will give some comfort. Kasia, I agree. So that we have done a lot of efforts together. We all of that have done it, but it will limit, in my opinion, only a little bit. Only a little bit. It's now the game of the factors in Poland and other players, not only us, customers, banks, everybody, also Factoring Association to act with Ministry of Finance, because the former government, they did not care about this change. The double invoice, they could implement it immediately. It's small, it was not a big change. The new government probably is now also very much busy with other things. So is this common applications, industries, finance, customers, if they apply for the Ministry of Finance to do so, maybe not in the first phase, but in the second, yes, it can work. And that will improve significantly.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and Mariusz, so just to add, I was involved in the dialogue and with some kind of workshops with my Ministry of Finance as a member of Polish Factors Association, and I have to say that we've already some of our ideas were already implemented, and they are open for further discussions. So that's positive, I think. This
second phase, I believe it can help.
Yeah, but it takes time. This is a problem.
Another year or two, maybe.
Like I remember this first discussion.
These are groups of interest. Everyone are interested to.
Yeah, I'm not in the market of factoring for last. I don't know. I left the board 2 years, more than 2 years. I left the board of Smeo, and I changed my career and I moved to Berlin. But I remember I heard about it like years ago. Some comment, Mats, please.
Yeah, one of the things that always happens is fraudsters adapt. So no matter what you do, they find ways around it and new methods. And actually, they're very smart, and probably that to adapt, you have to come to conferences like this. There's probably a few watching online right now, listening to what we're saying and figuring out, what can they learn from it? And we kind of laugh at that, but it's true, right? They're actually doing that level of knowledge and due diligence, and people do adapt. So I think no matter what we put in place, we're always going to be having to do something else to try and take it a step further.
So welcome to the fraudster who is somewhere here with us.
I fully agree with that. Yes.
Of course, they're always ahead. It's obvious that we are running behind, of course, but
we can do a lot to prevent it. In Serbia, the same system has been implemented for a year or so now. I'm the biggest fan. It helped our industry a lot. The issue we had is that Ministry of Finance, who is in charge of the system itself, they realized that the economy is extremely complicated, and the way they implemented the system, it was great for base case, but there are so many
corner cases
that had to be dealt with, and dealing with that took 2 years. We, as a factoring association, for example, were not able to implement change of creditor on our invoicing system for one simple reason, and most likely it's not going to get implemented at all. System is designed in a way that when invoice is confirmed by the buyer, it's locked and it's set, and you cannot change it any way possible. So there's no change of creditor there, which means you cannot use the same system for double financing fraud, for example. But it is a great system to verify invoice itself.
Okay. Of course, the open topic is still, because we are run of time, but the open topic is still the international invoices. But for that, maybe we need that Serbia will implement it on this European Union level, finger crossed, or somebody else. Or we have to use probably the databases or the providers of the system, which are international. Well, maybe this is also the idea. Yeah. Just last word, Katarzyna? Some last comments?
So last word. So I think that it's crucial for us to introduce zero tolerance approach to any kind of fraud together. And it's imperative that we'll have this new technologies just to tackle and trace and tackle fake invoices. And for sure, this we can do this only together. So we should foster a culture of trust and cooperation among factors. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Thank you very much. Thank you for that. Mariusz, last comment.
Best practice in sharing, then that will help very much. So if we have this cooperation, that we all together can make this solution in Poland, then it's to keep the group working and make the best practice sharing. Because even that what we discover in the small ticket will be useful for you, because they learn to each other very quickly. And the bigger cases also will help us to prevent and to implement these red flags. More these red flags and information from the databases we collect, less trials of the attempts of those guys will be there, and they will change the industry somewhere else. So of course, always will be some cases because the situation of the customers deteriorates, and that's the major, incentive why they do it.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much for having this panel together. I think it was very insightful, and finger crossed for the discussion among Polish factors.
If I can make only because I said about the export, we did not cover that point.
Yeah, we have no time.
Yeah, I know. It's only my advice from historically, because I used to do what you do. Always check if you have a bigger transaction. Check if it's a bigger customers. Check that the customer behind abroad. You have a data. So bigger customers, not sole traders. Prevent the sole traders.
Yeah,
right. Right. Yeah.
I thought about the same when I was looking this honey badger solutions, because to check who is your business partner abroad. Yeah, it's a education for our clients.
You have this now, the database like this SkyMinder. You can use it. I will not mention who is selling this, but you can also automatically within seconds, you know who is there. Secondly, use the technology and track record. Is it the first transaction? Or the track record, was it in the past? It always gives you the chance to do it. Or you have this factor chain. You can also do it when even the non-recourse finance, of course.
Technology is here. The willingness is here. Let's do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you
very much.